My name is Joe Millette, and this is Millette's Grow. Back in March, I took a trip to Colorado for the first time since marijuana was legalized. So I had my first experience buying cannabis in a legal setting, which I have to say was pretty amazing. I drove up into a normal parking lot. I parked into a regular parking space. I walked into a normal looking storefront, and inside was a really nice looking waiting room. Had some couches, some chairs, some artwork on the walls. Kind of looked like the waiting room of a doctor's office. It had magazines on the table. Except there was an armed guard standing by the door. He asked to see my ID. He wanted to verify my age, that I was at least 21. And once that happened, he let me inside. Now, when I got inside, it was pretty cool. Unlike anything I'd ever seen before. The selection for someone who lives in a place where it's still not legal, in a place where there's still a prohibition, you rarely have any kind of choice. And to have had that choice was really amazing. There were different flavors, there were different effects, there were so many different kinds, from edibles, pre-rolled smokables, there were tinctures, there were stuff you could rub on your skin. It was amazing. Just things that I knew were out there, that I've heard of before, that I've read about, that I've seen on TV. But to be there and to be standing in it, to be actually experiencing it, was something really incredible. So after being given all my choices, I made a selection, and he gave it to me in a little brown paper bag, and he handed me a receipt. And it was in that moment that I had this overwhelming feeling of freedom, of liberty, of an experience that this was how it was supposed to be. A feeling like this was a step towards a freer country. Because for the first time in my entire life regarding this particular substance, I was finally allowed the opportunity to do my own cost benefit analysis. For the first time in my life, I was allowed to choose the risks that I wanted to take, that only affected me personally. I wasn't in any way causing any harm to anybody else. And whether or not you buy into the arguments that this particular plant is a very helpful plant, or it's got huge medicinal use, or whether you think that that's a bunch of pseudoscience and you don't buy into it and you think it's just an excuse for legalization, it really doesn't matter. The truth is, it's about freedom. And people should not feel so belittled and insulted that they shouldn't be allowed to make their own decisions regarding their own risks in life. We let people jump out of airplanes. We let people go to a bar and drink alcohol until the end of the night, and then we don't think twice about it. We glorify that in this society. We let people smoke cigarettes. At this point in our society's history, we are all well aware of the danger of smoking cigarettes, and yet we still sell them in gas stations, and then up until recently, you can buy them in a pharmacy. Now, I realize that there's probably still pharmacies out there that still sell cigarettes, but slowly but surely they're starting to realize that it doesn't really fit in with their business model. Uh, but nonetheless, we allow people to decide that the benefits of smoking cigarettes is worth the cost. You may say that they're absolutely wrong and that their cost and benefit analysis is just terribly incorrect. But that's their choice to make, and we allow them to make that choice. And overall, it really wasn't overwhelming to the community as a whole. Yeah, there were a lot of the stores there, but they kind of just blend in with everything else. They're kind of just in strip malls, and some of them are standalone buildings that kind of have some signage, but it's no different than a liquor store or a tobacco shop or a gas station. It just kind of blends in with the rest of the community. And if you don't want to be a part of it, it's really easy to just kind of stay away from it. You could easily just go to the park and interact with other people. You could go downtown and walk around the city, and you don't see other people just walking around and smoking. In fact, at least in Colorado, that's still not legal. But for those of us who do want to partake, it means all the difference in the world to be able to go to a place where you have a huge selection and you know what each product is. You're not getting a mystery product. That the pricing is going to be decent and fair, and you're going to have to pay some tax on it. That's for sure. That's a step in the right direction, no doubt. And you'll be able to go home and partake without the paranoia of wondering whether or not a police officer is going to show up and knock on your door. And that peace of mind is very important for a lot of people. While I was in Colorado, I had two pretty big realizations. One was that I definitely wanted to move there. I wanted to move there, and I wanted to become a part of the industry. I wanted to learn how to grow. I wanted to grow up my house. I wanted to be able to know what it's like to live in that kind of freedom, because as of this point, I don't yet. The second realization was that I wanted to learn everything I could about the industry so that I could help push that same legal model in all the other states that have yet to take those steps, so that I could come back to the states that I consider to be my home and still live in that kind of atmosphere. I think it's great that the states that have already legalized have legalized. That's awesome. It's definitely the progress we need, but people shouldn't have to feel like they have to go be a refugee in another state that they don't consider their home just in order to live their life in a free way. So at this point, you're probably wondering what exactly this channel is going to be about and what types of videos I'll be making. This channel is for anyone interested in cannabis and cannabis production, but particularly for those who do not yet live in a legal environment that want to either move to a legal environment or help create a legal environment where they live. As for the types of videos I'll be making, I do want to do a grow series where we'll learn how to grow a plant from seed to mature plant and harvest it. I also, as I mentioned before, do not yet live in a legal setting. So until I have created the financial opportunity necessary to move to Colorado, we'll be starting off by practicing with plants that people who don't live in legal areas can grow and still gain all of the proper skills necessary to grow a good, healthy marijuana plant without risking going to prison or such places like where I live now. It's a very harsh mandatory minimum situation, and it's just not worth the risk. So I want to kind of find some plants out there that are completely legal to grow, that are going to have very similar aspects to growing a cannabis plant. And once I get to the point where I'm actually able to relocate to a legal setting like Colorado, I will be able to start a new series where I grow actual cannabis plants, and I'll be learning how to do that efficiently and create a really good, strong harvest. And I really want to document that and have the ability to share that process of learning from a novice all the way to hopefully an expert grower. So the second type of video I want to make on this channel is more of an informational series where I'm going to kind of just talk to you like in a setting like this, where I kind of do some more marijuana one-on-one type videos, some news analysis, some legal analysis where I talk about different state laws, both in legal states and in prohibition states, and kind of give my opinions on it, as well as kind of just make clear what the boundaries are and what the penalties are in certain states where certain things aren't allowed. Even in legal states, there are certain parameters that people need to know about. This is all stuff that's out there already. There's lots of channels that are pushing this information. The way I look at it, the more people that are pushing this information and talking about this subject, and the more channels that are out there, the more people can be reached, and the more people that don't understand this subject that come to understand it much better, the more that we can make that final push towards full legalization and have a model much more like alcohol or tobacco. And finally, I also want to do some kind of travel vlogging, and I want to take trips to both legal markets and kind of check out the differences between all of them, and kind of show you as much of it as I can. You know, obviously I don't have a huge budget, so those videos will definitely be much fewer and less frequent, but I do have a trip to Colorado planned for pretty soon, so there will be some of those coming up pretty soon. I also want to take trips to places where it's not legal and maybe attend events where there are pushes for legalization. I don't know yet. That's something that I've considered. If you guys can let me know in the comments what you guys think is a good idea. It sounds like the kind of channel you'd be interested in. Hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button, share it with your friends, share it out, show as many people as you can, help me get this channel started. I'm also working on setting up a Patreon page, so if you want to help me to relocate or help me upgrade some of my equipment so that I can make better videos with fewer jump cuts and better lighting, better audio, that'll be available soon, so I'll let you know when that's up and running. So that's my channel, guys. I'm going to try to put out a new video about once a week, so you guys keep a lookout for that.